Today we're going to look at Washington State and how they run their mesh out of trips, and I believe this is kind of the base of it. The farthest guys inside are going to mesh, and that includes a single guy away from the trips. They're meshing right there, and of course reading the opposite side flats. If there's somebody in the opposite side flats, they're going to sit down once they pass the center, finding space, and if there's nobody in those flats, they're going to keep rolling like against man-to-man. Running back right here, he's got a check swing. Really what he'd be looking at, he'd be looking at the wheel and the rush. If one of those guys ended up coming, he would abort his swing, he would go over there and he'd have to protect. But if they don't come, they drop. Now he swings and wheels a lot of the time, and then to the other side, they switch up what these two guys do every now and then. And we'll look at the different ways, but I think this is probably their base. Number 2 receiver runs a post, real skinny post. Number 1 receiver, he stacks in behind him, and then he digs into the windows for if those backers stay low on those meshes for that second level windows right there for that dig. But we'll look at some clips and look at a few different ways that they run, especially the outside receivers at number 1 and number 2 to the trips. And then we'll look at empty with mesh and how they do it with a little bit of motion, getting back to 3x1. Here's an example of Washington State running their mesh out of trips with kind of their base rules and what I think their probably base concept would be right here. They're meshing right here. Tailback's getting out. He had checked over in this direction to see if there's anybody that was blitzing. And right here you can see his eyes start over there. Then he gets out to the wheel. As we look at it, you can see he stacks in behind. He's coming here. He's going skinny post, keeping that safety off. And he's going to dig in here behind. And you can see those linebackers are pretty low. Here's a safety that rolled down into the flats. A lot of defenders low. Quarterback finds that second level. The dig hits him in stride right there for big plays. It'll make a couple guys miss, get it to the end zone. We've got a good look right here of all 22, and you can see safety rolled down. These guys are way off, whether that's a corner or safety rolled. He's going to take 2 for 1. He's digging into that giant area right there. And you can see these meshes right here. Probably could have hit that mesh as well. But right there, he knows backers are staying low. A lot of space right here. Let him work to the window. Rushing 3 right there, but there's still a lot of windows because they're threatening them vertically, horizontally. And then they got that second level guy finding work. And he's able to get into that window just like they're talking about here. He gets to the window. Good ball right there on his chest, and he's able to make a play for a touchdown. Here's a look right here of the exact same concept out of trips in the same game. And you can see this running back, this time they're seeing, they're bringing 4 to that side. So he knows he has to step up and take him on. He takes him on. And man coverage underneath. And they end up working these meshes. And just a little bit inaccurate, not quite a throw and catch right there. But the main thing right there is just seeing what that running back sees. Of course, he's checking over here. They're bringing both those backers. He knows he's got to take one, so he aborts that swing or wheel, and he has to step up, takes it on, knowing that these meshes are going to get open against man-to-man. Again, the same game, and you can see running back, again, he's checking that direction. They didn't bring 4 that time, so he's releasing. Quarterback gets his eyes to the mesh. He's looking here. He really doesn't like it. He sees they're chasing. They're seeing man coverage right here, and he knows that these guys running away are going to be man beaters, and he lets that dig work and gets into the window. And again, good accurate ball right there, and let him run after the catch. We'll look at it one more time. Again, check swinging right there with the running back, ends up wheeling, knowing that it's man-to-man. People are chasing, so he knows he has a lot of man beaters. The meshes are great man beaters, and you also have that dig that can work in there if that's what you want to work as well, especially if you have time like he does right here. Here's the same base concept, just different year against a different team. And we'll play it again. You can see he's checking that direction before he swings. There's the meshes from the inside guys. He's going vertical to the post. You got the guys stacking in behind to the dig. And you can see those guys, the mesh guys, seeing guys on the opposite side flats. You got the backers out there wide, so they sit down once they pass the center, finding space. Not quite open right there, but they keep working. And just a lot of guys working and knowing how to work space, able to get easy completions right there for first downs. There's definitely another way that a lot of people run this, and they basically switch who's running the post and who's running the dig. So basically it turns into just what you're looking for, a post dig, and then if you don't like it, then you get down to the meshes. So right here we'll look at it and see what the quarterback's looking at. He catches it, looks like his eyes go over there to the safety, sees the safety's getting depth. He doesn't really like this dig because he's getting a lot of depth as well, trying to make that real convoluted. He's dropping to it as well, so he knows, hey, I got to get down to those meshes and see what's taking place right there. And the ball should be out, 1st and 10. Taking an easy completion, but he gets a little antsy and he ends up still getting into the mesh just a little bit later for a big pickup on 1st down. Here's a slight variation of the way that they like to run mesh. And right here, of course, they're still meshing with the inside guys. He's coming a long way from the field. He's stretching the defense horizontally. Number 2 receiver actually just runs a slot fade. And so that's what he ends up running right here, a slot fade or a corner. And he stacks in behind and goes dig. Still trying to take 2 for 1, try to get that corner, trying to get that safety off so that then he can dig in behind. There you can see that backer's dropping hard. Probably going to try to come down to those meshes underneath. And you can see there's a lot of space right there for this mesh coming across. Take the completion and get your guy in space and see what can happen just like they do right here. Just a little bit of a variation, changing it up. The angle of what the number two guys running, still running vertical, trying to take 2 for 1, and they end up doing it right there. Here's a look at Washington State running mesh at starting out at 2x2 and then motion their guy across. By the time he gets to the tackle, they snap the ball. And of course, the guy in motion really doesn't want to run the mesh. They mesh right there with what ends up being number 2. Check swinging right there with the back. The guy that came in motion, he ends up running that post. Now he's stacking in. He's running that dig back inside, trying to find those windows. And again, right here, you see these backers low. Big window right there in the middle of the field, so they take it with that safety over the top because that guy that came in motion went over the top right there, make those safeties back up. But this is a really good look of them running mesh out of 2x2 and starting off at a 2x2, then motion to the trips, and really clean look. 3 safety look right here by Iowa State. You can see that Roberts safety, he gets over the top with that post. So they end up digging in behind into that window. So a big play right there against Iowa State, and they're 3-3 with that 3 safety look. Here's a way that Washington State starts off an empty and then motions the guy back to the backfield and then really just gets up back to running mesh out of trips. It really ends up being a big flood 4 receiver concept over there to the 3 receiver side. So they bring the number 2 receiver in motion in front, snap it before he crosses the quarterback. He's just going to swing. Still getting the meshes from the single, but now getting a mesh from the number 2 receiver as opposed to the number 3 receiver. Number 3 receiver is willing, taking a corner, probably trying to take the safety as well. And then the outside receiver, number 1, he's digging into those windows just like their normal trip concept. And then really just getting a lot of numbers over there, high-low on those backers, and then also trying to get that corner off with that wheel and possibly, peeking at it, possibly getting a big play right there as well. But we'll add a couple clips of how they run it right here, starting off an empty and then motion their guy back into the backfield, trying to get a 4 receiver side over there to the trips. Here they are starting off an empty, and of course, here comes the receiver in motion. They're going to snap before he gets there. He knows he's just getting as wide as he possibly can. Mesh it from number 2 as opposed to the number 3 receiver. Number 3, he's running the wheel. He's getting in here and he's running a dig. And we'll kind of look at the progression. You can see those guys are getting a lot of width. Guys are sitting it down, seeing his zone coverage. Quarterback's getting antsy. He's a little antsy back there, but then he's able to get his feet back set and throw it out there. A lot of bodies over there to that 3 receiver side, getting 4 guys, and they just weren't able to pick up the back and sort everything out with the guys running vertical. So they flipped it out there to the swing, the guy that motioned across for a big play right there. It's the same concept again. Here comes the guy in fly motion going to the flats. Number 3 receivers running the wheel as opposed to the mesh. Mesh coming from 2. Gets a little bit knocked off right there, but quarterback gets down to those meshes and is able to find an open guy that sits down against his own for an easy completion right there and getting your guy in space for a 1st down. Here's an interesting concept that Washington State attempted, but they never really got to it. What they ended up doing, of course, now they're meshing right here. Once these guys cross, he comes across and he tries to go corner into that open void that may have been left. These guys are switching what they're doing over here, but I thought that was really interesting. You can see here comes the mesh. He's trying to slow down so he can go vertical. Then once he passes him, it's almost like a pick. Now he's going over the top for the corner. Looks like they play off, so he just takes that completion right there. And we have one more look in this exact same game, and we'll take a look at it. Here's the same concept, and you can see again, this guy's the one that's going to try to go vertical. By the time they're about to mesh, he's slowing down. Once he passes him, he puts that foot in the ground. He's trying to go vertical. I guess they kind of noticed that, and he's playing off right there. And then so they just take that completion underneath for a big play. Thought it was an interesting change up. I think they probably were trying to get a bigger play and get over the top. But right here, Washington just played off, and it did create a lot of space, especially with this time that they ran. The second time, whenever he went vertical, it took that backer a little bit with him. So kind of interesting change up right there by Washington State.